So welcome to today's session. In our last session, we just made a introduction to GST as far as how this tax has been evolved, followed by what are all the process that are all carried out. This implementation of GST was a economic decision or a decision based on international pressures or international reasons, or it is a conscious indigenous decision, or it is a technology revolution which is brought in, all that we have discussed and passed through it. Today's discussion, we will discuss about the legal background behind GST. I'm sure all of us virtually present over here would agree with me that when it comes to uh, taxation, when it comes to collecting even 1 rupee as tax, it should be as per the powers to collect tax. And the powers to collect tax are in-housed in Constitution of India. And in Constitution of India, more specifically, on two articles in Constitution of India, we will not call it as section, rather we will call it as article. In Constitution of India, two articles in-house this power, Article 246 and 254. Article 246 is a very famous article. Every taxation, you name the taxation, every taxation comes only through Article 246, 7 schedule, list 1, list 2, list 3, which we would have discussed sometime earlier, or we would have been aware about all this as part of our general understanding for any roots of taxation laws. Coming back here, as part of today's discussion, we will discuss about the legal background for introduction of GST. There was a proposed model, we called it as dual model of GST. Whether the dual model thought process is reflected in the Constitution of India, plus once comfortably closing out various provisions relating to Constitution related amendments, where we would be reading a little bit in detail the 101 Amendment to Constitution 101 Amendment Act 2016. This Constitution 101 Amendment Act 2016, we will read it in little detail because based on that discussion only, every power, tone, everything is set for GST. Once that discussion is over, we will step into the body of the law and some important definition by the time today's bell will ring so that we can wind up as part of our discussions. Coming back here, getting into the basic understanding of constitutional aspect. I'm sure all of us are aware that any taxes in India can be levied if and only if they have powers to collect tax as per Constitution of India. And generally, Article 246 and Article 254 in-house that power to levy tax and collect tax from the people. I'll put it in this way. We have many decisions, many decisions of the apex court, which comes out and says that even 1 rupee cannot be collected as taxes where the government has no jurisdiction to collect tax. For example, if a government is not having a jurisdiction to collect tax, even a rupee cannot be collected as taxes. So that is the power of some of those various constitutional decisions under this. Be that as it may, every law was been always tested for its constitutional validity. When we take up a law like service tax law, okay, which was in fact not even brought up in a very proper form, something like GST. I'm not sure people who are all aware of service tax law. For a lot of you, maybe you will be able to know something about service tax law, or you would not know about service tax law. We often used to call it as an orphan child, service tax law. Why? Because the constitutional entry is the mother for every taxation law. See, no, sir, I know Income Tax Act. No, Income Tax Act. Who gave power to come up with the act? Somewhere, some requirement is there in the constitution level. So, what is that entry? When we go back and search that, it would be entry number 82, which gives powers to the government. Entry number 82, list 1, 7 schedule, article 246. So, points here for our discussion are: without a constitutional entry, without a constitutional power, taxes cannot be levied in India. And the Indian federal setup, we have discussed in our last discussion itself, in our last session itself. The Indian federal is of that nature. State government is powerful, and state government will be collecting taxes on certain matters. Similarly, central government is powerful, and central government will be collecting taxes on certain matters. Now, what were those? When it comes to central excise duty, as the name suggests, it is a excise duty actually. Excise duty is levied at the time of manufacture. Because it is levied by central government, they called it as central excise duty. Was a exclusive power available only with central government. Service tax was an exclusive power available only with the state government. To the contrary, we have value added tax. We had entertainment tax, exclusive domain of state government. When this is how the Indian constitution has bifurcated, in other words, இது உங்க ஏரியா, இது என் ஏரியா. இந்த ஏரியா தாண்டி நீங்களும் டாக்ஸ் போடக்கூடாது, இந்த ஏரியா தாண்டி நானும் டாக்ஸ் போட மாட்டேன். To put it in a very simple terms, that this is your boundary of taxation. This is my boundary of taxation. Unnecessarily, we will not encroach ourselves on the boundaries. When this was the pattern of constitution earlier, which warranted an amendment, hence a constitution bill, 122nd constitution amendment bill, let me repeat, 122nd constitution amendment bill 2014 was tabled before the Lok Sabha, get its approval in 2015, then was tabled in Rajya Sabha, and again get its approval sometime during 2016. Immediately within the next few days, the president gives an assent. The moment president gives an assent to the 122nd constitution amendment bill, the birth of Constitution 101 Amendment Act 2016. I'm sure all of us would agree a difference to those words. Bill and act. Bill is not binding. The moment it turned out to be an act, it binds everybody. Now, why we need an act? Why there is a need for an amendment? When we go back to those discussions, there is a need because all along central government alone had the power to levy taxes if it is going to be manufacture of goods or services. I'll put in another way, or put in other words, central government never had power to levy taxes on sale of goods. If someone is going to sell goods, it was an exclusive domain of the state government. Similarly, state governments never had power to levy taxes on if someone manufacture goods or supply services. So that crisscross has to happen. So if that crisscross has to happen and you want to breach the boundaries, then no doubt there is a need for a constitutional amendment, and that constitution amendment has also made with the help of goods. Having said all that, as per the Constitution of India, only three definitions I would take it up. A definition of what we mean by a term called as goods and services tax. Goods and service tax means what? Services means what? Goods means what? These definitions are from Constitution of India. Let me repeat it. It just gives you a broader understanding of what is goods, what is service, what is goods and service tax means for Government of India. Coming back here, when it comes to goods and service tax means any tax on supply of goods. Again, an important word. Any tax on supply of goods or services except tax on supply of alcoholic liquor for human consumption. So any goods, look at the language of that has been um, emphasized here. You name it, any goods, any services, or it can be a combination of both, except one product called as alcoholic liquor. Now, why alcoholic liquor is out? A lot of us are aware of this topic, be that as it may. It's my duty here to explain it once again. Let me repeat it. When it comes to alcoholic liquor, somewhere at the bottom of your heart, be prepared for something. Alcoholic liquor is an exclusive domain for taxation by the state government. The Indian Constitution has recognized always if there is a manufacturing activity of alcoholic liquor happens, it is the state government who will collect state excise duty. Let me repeat. State government will collect only on one product called as alcoholic liquor. It is the state government who will collect a value added tax, otherwise called as VAT. It is not a product covered by central government at all. At no point in time, liquor was in the scope of central government. Liquor, alcoholic liquor for human consumption was out and out a state government's domain. So that is why if you come across a state like Tamil Nadu want to bring every alcoholic sale through a particular government public sector undertaking. Whereas that model is not followed in Andhra Pradesh, Karnataka, Kerala. It's there. The trade is different. State to state, it would differ, no doubt about it, because it's more of a state power. Now, for us, a key takeaway is at your no stretch of imagination, kindly, let a celebrity comes and stand up before a screen and scream. Let people come and shout before in stages. At no stretch of or in the social media, left, right, center, let people tear relating to alcoholic product. This is that, that is this and all. At no stretch of imagination, GST can be levied on this one product by name called as alcoholic liquor for human consumption. It's an out and out state government domain. This product is not leviable to GST. It's not straight away out. If the product is an alcoholic liquor, I am not using a word, a product contains alcohol. There is a lot of difference between product containing alcohol and an alcoholic liquor for human consumption. Another 1.5 months down the line, we are expecting a good monsoon. When a nice monsoon is there, no doubt, coffee, monsoon, balcony, rain. Nice moments, no doubt about it. Sometime we will explore our internal literature that has been in-housed in us. Whatever be it, along with all this, one more thing will also come to us, which is the cold and cough. When we go back to our our own physician, general physician, he would prescribe again nothing great, a cold syrup or a cough syrup rather, cough syrup where which is going to contain again alcohol. On consumption, we're going to go for a sound sleep for the next 2 hours, which is going to be continued for 2 3 days. And very simple. On the fourth day, the body comes back with its rhythm. Points for our discussion here is what made you to go for a little larger nap, little dosed level. Point here is the product contained alcohol. 8% of the product composition contains alcohol. Without alcohol, nothing will move in the science. Alcohol is one of the biggest carrying agent. Let me repeat it here. If you want to move a fragrance, if you want to move a smell, if you want to push something, if you want to spread something, if you want to, it has to move. It has to be only through alcohol. Now we are not bothered about products containing alcohol. We are bothered about a product by itself is lack of alcohol. 85% of the product is alcohol. Then it is alcohol. State government will have power. That is about it. So don't be just bothered about why they are not taxing and all. They don't have power to tax. Then where is the question of taxing? Coming back here, moving forward quickly into some of those very serious aspects associated with it are not these definitions. In fact, these definitions are all very simple definitions. Goods includes all material, commodities, and articles. So what is goods? All those material, commodities, and articles is treated as goods. So nothing great about it. Points for our discussion is all those materials. It can be a material, it can be a commodity, it can be this compound, article, anything. As long as one of the small insight that we can take from this is goods are generally movable in nature. Generally, let me repeat, I'm also qualifying generally movable in nature. That is one understanding that we are taking over here. Followed by, once that understanding is over, so once the general understanding of goods is over, we would be discussing something about services. As far as services is concerned, where the services is concerned, service means anything other than goods. What do we mean by anything other than goods? When we go back to that discussion, all those things other than goods. You take up a small paper, plot a small area through a black pen, and write G. That's all is goods. Rest white paper is full of service. That's how it can be understood. Service means anything. Look at that word. Anything other than goods. It's so wide that anything other than goods. I know a lot of you are virtually located in your own study area, study place, wherever you used to sit and listen to all those virtual sessions, classes, all this and all. Your mother brought a coffee and served you. For some of us, our spouse brought the coffee and served to us. Okay, not even a single day. We served it back to them. That story is different. Okay, come back here. Is it a service? I asked the question. Is it a service? The coffee served by the mother to us. Yes or no? Ganapati Subramaniam says yes. Balaji says yes. So I want a lot of you to answer. Vaishnavi, yes, sir. Quick, 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 quick. Mother serving coffee to you. Yes or no? Vidya, no, 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 sir. Ammalan duty. Huh? Nandini again echoes that voice. Adella mudiyadhu. No, sir. No. Keerthana, paid service you want. Oh, not a paid service. Oh, free ah kudtha madhikiradilla. I understand. I honestly understand. Okay. When I come back with something, a proposal of doing something for free, people say, is that a waste, sir? Same topic. We will do it for 10,000 bucks. So, super, sir. They, free ah kudtha. Okay, something. Understood. Understood. Now, the question here is not business is there, not for business is there. The question is very fundamental. Understand. See, consciously, I want you to elevate to a next level of thinking pattern. There is a second level of thinking pattern required. Somehow we have to come out from the earlier level thinking pattern. Earlier level thinking pattern will help us only knowing what is there in the printed text. The final level thinking pattern, the next level thinking pattern requires us to think it from a different perspective. My point here is service means anything other than goods. Have anywhere in one line have they told it should be for business purpose? It should be paid. It should be for a consideration. Anything is there. That's all. Section 26A is a new insertion through 101 Amendment Act 2016 to the Constitution of India. Anywhere that word came, that's all. Please kindly understand. Consideration, business purpose, money need to be paid, blah, blah, blah. All are, we are creating ourselves. Constitutional means, service means anything other than goods. It is not only Mother Teresa does services, our mother also does services for us, and it should be recognized as a service. Maybe we will not pay because she does to us because of the love and affection she has on us. Now, any case, but is it a service? Yes, no doubt. Coming back here, it has to be read with various other aspects. At that context, it would change that it is not in for a consideration, it is not for a business purpose, but you cannot take away a basic element. Yes, it is a service, but it is not done for business, but it is not done for consideration. So it is not a supply. Let me repeat. Hope you could able to understand the difference between service versus supply. Else, don't be much bothered about it. Same topic we will revisit on our next class more elaborately when we touch upon the respective provisions relating to section 7. Coming back here, getting into a new article is getting inserted. I think I have already highlighted to you earlier in my presentation that Article 246A gives powers to government to levy tax coupled with 254. Now, you have a insertion, a new entry, Article 246A. A fundamental question will be raised to me instantly. I know. So, do I need to remember the constitutional entry numbers? Do I need to remember this section number? My fundamental answer is a very simple yes. Let me repeat. I don't want you to remember too many numbers. Just remember three numbers. Article 246A, 269A, 279A. Three numbers. 246A, 269A, 279A. All three are new insertion. All three are important. All three need to be aware by me. We need to be aware of all three aspects. So coming back, Article 246A is being introduced where it starts something like this: notwithstanding anything contained in Article 246, Article 254 of the Parliament. So now we are going to discuss about the usage of the word notwithstanding anything contained. Article 246 is already there in the Constitution. A new article comes, Article 246A. This Article 246A, which is new, which is being encrypted with the word notwithstanding anything contained in 246. Now my question to you is, which is a superior section? 246 is a superior section or 246A is a superior section. Tomorrow, for the purpose of taxation, I'm referring the law which I'm going to put in the higher pedestal. Is it 246A or 246? So 246A or 246, which is going to be on the higher pedestal? Let me repeat it. It is going to be, Pavitra, check your answer. Aishwarya, through Article 246A. A lot of you have been now answering. Good, Vivekananda or Aditya or Shweta Manivannan or Keetan. Good. Points for our discussion are that's all. As long as it is, the doubt comes. If it is going to be a matter of GST, your regular Article 246A 246 cannot be touched. It has to be touched through 246A. And very interesting to note here is union, which means central government, state, which means state government. In the Constitution of India, always they will refer it as union government, or sometimes they will refer it as parliament. Union government means central government. Parliament means the the central government's one of its machinery, which has been responsible for running the whole central government, which is the parliament. It is something like state legislature for a state. It is the state legislature that runs the state. Okay. So, or in other terms, all the MPs will sit in one location, which is called as parliament. So there is a difference. Parliament and union government. Yes, there is a subtle difference in terms of certain powers associated with it. But by and large, you can put in a broader canvas called as central government. Union or state. The most crucial word there is again state. Union or state government will have power to make law with respect to goods and services tax in respect of intra-state supply. If a supply is going to be an intra-state supply, both government will have power to tax. Parliament will have an exclusive power. Parliament will have an exclusive power in respect of or with respect to goods and service tax in respect of interstate supply. I think what we have discussed as dual model, as a model, now the constitutional entry, Article 246A, in-houses itself that power. If a transaction happens within the state, which we will call it as intra-state supply, both the government, central government, in other words, union government and state government will have power to tax. Whereas if a transaction that happens only within the, if a transaction happens between the states or between an union territory and a state, then it is an interstate supply. Parliament will have an exclusive right to tax. We all know all this basic, but today we are coloring that basics, which constitutional entry understanding called as Article 246A, and we further color that Article 246A is superior to Article 246. When the whole discussion goes like this, one of the batches of the earlier student immediately texted me, "Sir, if a transaction happens between India and New York," okay, to put it in a different way, if a transaction happens between India and USA, is it a transaction that happens within the state or it is a transaction that happens between the states? Which took me to the next constitutional understanding, Article 269A. Let me repeat. A new entry which comes based on GST related entry, a transaction that happens between two countries. Let me repeat, it is not two states. It is not Andhra Pradesh and Karnataka. It is not Madhya Pradesh and Uttar Pradesh. It is not Gujarat and West Bengal. This time transaction happens between India and France. India and Germany, India and Hong Kong, Indonesia and India. In all these models, government is very clear. In case of import of goods, in case of import of services into the territory of India, it shall be deemed to be a supply of goods or services in the course of interstate trade or commerce. Let me repeat, a deeming fiction is getting created. That is to say, actually, it is neither a transaction that happened within the state nor a transaction that happened between the state. Then what it is? It is a transaction that happened between two countries. Okay, technically it is a inter-country supply. Okay, you should call like this because they don't want to call with another word and all. They want to shrink the model as small as possible. What they did is, in case of import of goods, in case of import of services, it will be treated, it will be deemed that it will be treated as a supply in the course of interstate supply of goods or services. Hence, in other words, central government will have a exclusive power to tax. So import of goods will attract IGST. Import of services will also attract IGST only. When a transaction happens between India to USA, India to Germany, Japan, UK, whatever you want, put countries in the map. When transaction happens between India to that country, always it would be treated as a interstate supply. At no stretch of imagination, state will have a control on this transaction. So a deeming fiction is created as far as Article 269A is concerned. Moving forward, getting into some more amendments for a cause we have to read. Four important amendments we will read. Actually, there are 29 amendments as part of GST, 101 Constitution Amendment Act. We are not reading all, we are reading only relevant amendments, only 6 amendments, means 6 constitutional amendments related matters alone we are reading. Okay. Rest all I leave it to you for your own references. From exam purposes, beyond this, beyond what I discussed, nothing is required. In fact, I am consciously pushing you to remember some of the entries like this entry 84, all this stuff and all. If you go back to the background material of your respected institute, then they would very comfortably left it without this all this what is a section references. They would have put it everything in the plain text, which is not correct. Which is not correct to my perception. Coming back here again, the entry in the 7th schedule is getting amended. I believe I have already discussed this point. Article 246 has 3 lists: list 1, list 2, list 3. List 1, union government alone have power to tax. In other words, central government alone have power to tax. List 2, state government alone have power to tax. List 3, concurrent list, both the government have power to tax. List 1, as part of our list 1 discussion, where central government alone have power to tax. Actually, there was a power to tax excise duty that they have amended like this. There would be a duty of excise levied on the following goods manufactured or produced in India. A duty of excise will be levied on all those goods produced or manufactured in India. Namely, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 goods. Excise duty, is it levied in India today? Yes, excise duty is levied in India. On what products? 5 petroleum products. On 5 petroleum products: crude, petrol, diesel, aviation turbine fuel, natural gas. On this 5 products, till today, no doubt, excise duty is levied. Followed by tobacco and tobacco products is an added one. So on 6 products, let me repeat, on about 6 products, we still today levy excise duty. So, sir, you only told excise duty is subsumed. Today, if a laptop is manufactured, we don't levy excise duty. If a table, chair, tube light, fan, AC, anything is manufactured, we don't levy excise duty. If you manufacture crude oil, yes, we are levying excise duty. If you manufacture cigarette, we are levying excise duty. Cigarette is cigarette, maybe I have meaned it specifically, but I'll rephrase it. Tobacco is the only product. Tobacco and tobacco products are the only product liable for excise duty and GST. But for that, no other product is covered. You cannot. And the importance of this one line I have discussed, we will know when we go back to customs only. Tobacco is the only product liable for excise duty and GST. See, I'm sorry, but this can be told only this language of this actor. Okay. There is a very great comedian. A lot of you are aware. Timing sensational slapshot comedy is only known for him. He is known for his slapshot comedy. My name called as Vadivel. Okay. எவ்வளோ அடிச்சாலும் இவன் தாங்குறான்டா. Verbatim to the same way. This product, you put excise duty, you put what GST, 28%, compensation cess another 15%, excise duty 16%. In a product, 60% they collect as tax. 60% they collect as tax. For a product, 60% somebody collects as tax, then imagine that is the revenue associated with it. Just for your information, from India, tobacco products, Indian tobacco industry is a $6 trillion industry. $6 trillion. Of that, more than 3 trillion. Of that, $3 trillion industry. Of that, more than $1 trillion we export. Something very big. This industry is known for its stuffing style, Indian stuffing style of tobacco, or something. Enough morning tobacco dosage is high. My intention is only to just give you a hint about tobacco products. And tobacco products are the only product tomorrow, assume tomorrow, which will happen. Very near it will happen. When petroleum products are brought into GST, these 5 items will get deleted. But the 6th item will not be deleted. It is a conscious decision by the government. Tobacco is leviable to both excise duty and GST. Why, sir? You will know in the next slide. So what is speciality in the next slide? One point I think I told, but I just want to highlight. It is your union list will have power to tax when it comes to excise. Same article 246 in its 7th schedule, second list 2 has a product called as article 246 7th schedule list 2. Entry number 54 gives powers to government to collect a tax called as value added tax. So a value added tax will be collected by the government only on 6 products. What are those 6 products? When we go back and analyze on those 6 products, the 6 products are going to be same: crude oil, high-speed diesel, natural gas, aviation turbine fuel. But very interesting to note, the sixth product alone is not tobacco. I think I already told you. Tobacco is a product only liable for what? Excise duty. The 6th product is going to be alcoholic liquor for human consumption. Now, when petrol brought into GST. Now, why petrol? When petrol will be brought into GST? When we go to levy section 9 subsection 2 and 5 subsection 2, we will deal in detail. This is not the right place to discuss. A lot of you know also. The day in which petroleum brought into GST, 5 items will be deleted. Only 1 item will be there where state government will collect tax, liquor, alcoholic liquor for human consumption. One more item will be there where central government will collect excise duty, which will be tobacco, tobacco and tobacco. So this is a exclusive discussion on what is happening in India currently. Currently, if you deal with petroleum products, 5 products, you are still continuing with the old regime of paying excise duty to central government, paying value added tax to state government in the state. Any transaction happen in between the state, CST, central sales tax is paid. If petrol is sold from Andhra Pradesh to Karnataka, IOCL Andhra Pradesh sell petrol to IOCL Karnataka, or IOCL Andhra Pradesh sell petrol to let's say one of the company in Karnataka or one of the company in Tamil Nadu. Likewise, it will not happen. Generally, among themselves only they will sell and make a further sale. But in case if there is going to be a cross sale because of various reasons, then CST, Central Sales Tax, is applicable, and that is still continued only for this identified 5 products. CST will be applicable only for the 5 products. Yet another significant move by the central government or the request of the state government was taken. Earlier, luxury tax and entertainment tax, the power to collect luxury tax and entertainment tax was with state government. When GST got amended, that power to collect local body entertainment tax or power to collect luxury tax is shifted from the state to panchayat. Let me repeat. Today, we have a local body entertainment tax. Local body means that corporation of Chennai would levy a tax, entertainment tax on entertainment industry. Now, sir, again, this is not this is not fair. See, understand, this is a power that is there. Not everybody is enforcing, but unfortunately, Tamil Nadu has enforced it. They said on every ticket sold, you have to pay entertainment tax. Again, that's under dispute. State like Karnataka, Andhra Pradesh, Kerala, they all told if you telecast is not the right word. If you going to on your screen, if you're going to exhibit a state language films, then there is no entertainment tax. Other state films, then entertainment tax will be so much. If it is an English film, then entertainment tax will be so much. Not English film, other than the any language that is being spoken in the India. So something like that. If you're going to come with a Russian film, which is going to be on the screen, not on Netflix, then entertainment tax will be huge. Tamil Nadu, no distinction. Our own film, this film, that film, all film. So all the exhibitors, to put it in a different language, all the theater owners decided, we will not pay. So they are all onto strike. They filed a writ petition before the courts, which all time will say associated. So that sums up the discussion relating to 2 important articles and its related amendment, Article 246A and Article 269A. This takes us to the next part of our discussion, which is going to be Article 279A. Article 279A. What is this Article 279A? Article 279A of Constitution of India gives powers to the President of India once the 122nd Constitution Amendment Bill is being accepted by the central government and more than 50% of the states, let me repeat, 50% of the states has also accepted the Constitution Amendment in their state legislature. Then one council will be formed. A statutory body for GST will be formed. Let me repeat, a statutory body, a recommendatory body will be formed by name called as GST Council. Who will be GST Council in-house? Who are all? Or who will be the members of GST Council? The Union Finance Minister. The Union Finance Minister is the state chairperson. Is the chairperson. And there is Minister of Union, Minister of States. Union Minister of State will be a member. We have 2 Union Minister of States for every portfolio. One to take care of South India, one to take care of the North India. Half of division and they will take care. Not South India, one part of the India, other part of the India. 2 Union Minister of States always are there. Sometimes one also they will do. It's their the finance minister's discretion and the cabinet's discretion. Every state will have a state finance minister. Then the state finance minister is also a member. So technically, if you see, GST Council will consist of whom and all? Union Finance Minister, Union Minister of States, and a state finance minister. Every state will have one finance minister. Generally, finance minister posting, they will keep it separately. Some states, finance minister is portfolio is below the chief minister itself. At the time, they will appoint a person. The state revenue will, the state will appoint a person as he will go and represent on behalf of the minister. Sometimes certain discussions might be technical. Okay. At the time, they themselves will say, it is highly recommended to appoint a minister. Suddenly, if they go and speak about intrastate supply, interstate supply, revenue sharing, if it is a product, on that product tax to be levied or not, that discussion, no doubt, a finance minister can take, because that is something. It's the fulcrum. He can decide. He know. But revenue sharing formula, this is how money will go. Place of supply, matters like this. Why you are discussing all with us, sir? What matters can be decided by GST Council? I will ask this question. What not cannot be decided? Everything can be decided. What taxes that are going to be subsumed? What goods or services that are going to be exempted? How the law should be evolved? What is the principle behind the levy of GST? Principles of place of supply, threshold limit for registration, threshold limit for composition levy, rate of goods, rate of services. And because the northeastern part of India is little economically backward when you compare with the complete other parts of India, why can't we come up with some certain special provisions which is applicable only to northeastern part of it? For all said and done, if you once travel to some of these northeastern states, if you go to Manipur and if you go stand in Impal only, you know, IMPAL, Impal, the bit corner of your, if you go some few kilometers from Impal, you can reach Myanmar, Burma, in other words. So if you go to Impal only, you will know why I'm saying highlighting it. You will know how blessed we are. Unfortunately, when we are at in our places, we won't know how much blessed we are. We have to travel to some of these northeastern states. No doubt. Sometimes we will have a doubt: are we in a northeastern state or are we in a foreign country destination? Because the nature God is so kind to some of these places. Place like Mizoram, 91% of Mizoram is forest. 91, which means only what? 9%. Now, what great economic activity you think there? So come back here. Intentions are very simple. Government will take all those major decisions, not be a suo moto decision of central government. It will be a collaborative decision of both central government and state government. All these discussions would happen associated. Now, quickly moving forward. Post GST Council, yet another authority who was constituted and whose main motto is to provide a complete technical support to a successful implementation of GST, called as your GSTN, Goods and Services Tax Network. It is a not-for-profit company, no doubt, where it is being shared among the central government, state government, and few other companies. Only downside was HDFC and ICICI Bank hold some stake, which was being criticized. A call has also been taken that government of India will buy, or through its subsidiary, it will buy the stakes from them. Because of that reason, it is being criticized by many people that it's a private entity. No, it's not a private entity. Private entity means what we all know. But in any case, it is little criticized for that. But government is very clear that they will buy back. Already in one of the GST Council meeting, they will make. Now, just to highlight to you, every month, minimum one council meeting they will have. And they will discuss all these matters and take positions. Many places in the act itself, we will read as per the recommendations of GST Council. Without the recommendations of GST Council, nothing is possible. I'm not sure how many of you all had an opportunity to see a film like Bahubali. A film like Bahubali is a great movie, no doubt about it. Because this country has spent, this country alone, this country has spent about 600 crores and understood why Kattappa killed Bahubali. Okay. So not 1 rupee, 2 rupee. Why Kattappa killed Bahubali? I was sometimes amazed by the confidence of the director. Reply, next year we will say. Abruptly film will get closed, and with one quest, every audience would move out of the screens, and with that quest and that next 1.5 years kind of faith a person has on his content, literature is amazing. In any case, my core content here was, for a moment, think the whole events are happening at Magilmadi, okay, which is Magilmadi is equal to India, the place where the whole events would happen in Bahubali. My point here is very simple. Whom do you think the most powerful person in Bahubali? The most powerful person. Yes, any rough guess? Character name I want. I don't want cast name. Kindly. Epics are remembered only based on character names, not on cast name. Superman can be anybody. Today you can take one of the best of the faces and put as Superman. But Superman is Superman always. Spider-Man is Spider-Man. It's the not the cast alone. It is the character that is being more important. Pick in a film like Bahubali, whom do you think that had everything? Yes, you can call it as Sivagami Nachia, or you can call it as in another pet name, which has been she was called by name called as Rajamata. I already told Shweta, I don't want cast name. You're right, but characters are remembered. Characterization is more important. Now, in any case, coming back here, intention. Verbatim for GST is GST Council is Rajamata. What Rajamata says, what GST Council says, that has to be followed. No doubt, without any second question, it has to be followed. There are no questions that are all raised at all. Coming back here, Goods and Service Tax Network, a company, a not-for-profit company, incorporated with a single motive, which means to provide information technology network support for implementation of GST. For a successful implementation of GST, information technology support is required. For that, they would come out and provide us. Coming back here, further discussion of it. In what way they support, sir? I'm not getting into the IT infrastructure committee. It's just a list of people who are all will be forming part of it. So you can read it at your leisure. I'm not much bothered about it. What is going to be their major core aspects? in what work they are going to do, what is their statutory functions they support, what is their non-statutory functions they support, what are those activities. When we go back and understand registration process, return filing process, refund process, or filing of appeal, or helps support of the filing, or the customer support associated with all this, or it is going to be distribution of revenue between state government and central government, distribution of IGST revenue based on calculation, followed by all those additional information which are provided or bombarded to government based on the big data analysis which they do, followed by bringing up with certain exceptional reports. For all this are the work of GSTIN. Goods and Service Tax Network provide all these services. All these are all going to be some of those services provided by GSTIN. Hope by this moment all of us are agreeable. GSTN, Goods and Service Tax Network, purpose is different. Goods and Service Tax Council, purpose is different. GST as a tax is different. If you could able to understand the three definition, that sums up the whole discussion of this morning on the constitutional discussions and two important discussion about fellows by name called as your GST Council and Goods and Service Tax Network. That sums up in total the legal background. Let me repeat, the legal background behind implementation of GST. Just for a minute, recollect, we would have discussed the dual model. In that same model, Constitution itself gave power. A transaction that happened within the state, both government will have power to tax. If a transaction happened between state, exclusively central government will have power to tax. If a transaction happened between two different countries, it is treated as a interstate supply and central government will have an exclusive power to tax. So I think completely designed as per the dual model, and India is going to kickstart GST only in this model. So for all that, the preparatory work is done. And again, even if somebody has a doubt, is it my article 246 is superior or 246A is superior? For that also they have answered, it is only your 246A is going to be superior. That sums up the whole discussion, and this takes us to the next part of our discussion by name called as body of law and the important definitions. So body of law, important definitions, we will take after just a 10 minutes break, a 10 minutes break or 5 minutes break. I know you all don't want break, but I want break. I've been sitting on the same posture. So I have to just go turn out here and there and come back. So just 10 minutes, we will break and rejoin by 7:50 and continue our discussion on the body of scope of law. Don't exit out of the meeting. I'm not going to exit. I'm going to stay in the meeting hall only. Welcome back to our discussions on body of law and important definitions. The whole of GST can be broadly bifurcated into 5 different domains. Or I'll rephrase it in this way. Tomorrow you have an issue on your hand, or tomorrow you have a case study on your hand. You have to verify on certain logical orders. First, you have to search the act to get what is the core content of it. Then, are there any procedures prescribed? You can take it from the rules. Are there any amendments to the procedure came, or applicability of certain procedures with the help of notifications? Followed by how it has to be interpreted, or in case of confusions, any clarification given by the government through circulars or instructions would help. As usual, as this is law is a budding law, we don't have now currently great case laws, but anyway, case law is also a source of law or a body of law. So tomorrow someone have to have a better understanding of GST. Then they have to ensure they tap only these 5 sources: Act, rules, notification, circulars, instructions, and case law. Of that, in the Act front, we will be broadly reading 3 important Act, or our discussions will again and again will be only on Central Goods and Services Tax, Integrated Goods and Services Tax. Of course, every state has State Goods and Service Tax, but the best part of SGST is a copy paste of CGST. All the states, Andhra Pradesh, Karnataka, Maharashtra, Uttar Pradesh, Kerala, any state, Telangana state, copy central GST, paste in that state, change central government to state government, change the central government to state of that particular, and applicability is only to that particular. Say CGST applicable throughout of India. When those are the broader specs, associated with all these discussion. CGST, IGST, respective state SGST, and there is something called as compensation cess. GST compensation cess. Because the producer state, I'm sure you all will understand now by this time, as the producer state is going to lose revenue by implementation of GST, to ensure the interest of the producer state is protected, what government would do is to come up with a proposal called as compensation cess, additional extraction collected on certain identified goods. Generally goods which are hazardous to health, or goods that are going to deplete a lot of natural resources. Motor vehicle, pan masala, gutta, cigarettes, aerated drinks, all those vehicles or computer peripherals, more computer peripherals, coal, which is going to destroy your natural wealth, then this is collected as an additional revenue by the government, later on distributed among the states on one proposition based on loss of revenue. When we go back to compensation cess discussion, be applicable. Generally, as part of your syllabuses, it is not much emphasized. Right? Rules, why we need rules? Very simple. Act will say any person who cross more than 20 lakhs has to get himself registered. Good. I am a person cross 20 lakhs. So where should I register? I don't know. What form I should file? I don't know. Within what time I have to file? I don't know. For all questions you are saying, I don't know. Because I am Act, I would only say what need to be done. How it has to be done? My brother is there. A delegated legislation called as rules. Rules are delegated legislation which is a subservient to the Act. Rules cannot say something as such which is not told in the Act. Often you would have learnt a term called as a rule cannot preside an Act. Rule cannot override an Act. An Act can override a rule. An Act can always override a rule because Act is superior. Act is passed by the Parliament. And Act is what main. But rules are not. They are all always delegated legislation or subordinate legislation, sub-legislation, which is a subservient to the Act. When something is going to be a subservient to the Act, then it has to say, this form you have to file, within so many days you have to file. Once you file, we will approve it. If we have not approved, we have to file this form. And within so many number of days, if it is not done, it is treated as automatically approved. Any changes in the rules that they want to bring. If you are a company, you have to insert your digital signature and then only file certain forms. Now, because of pandemic, digital signature is in office. I am at home. I am working from home. Where is the question of digital signature? Okay, bring some more model called as EVC, electronic verification code. Change in your rule, change in your process can come only with the help of notification. change in your rate of tax. Actually, notifications are broadly divided into rate notification other than rate notification. Rate notification means always their core intention is to only discussion about change in the rate of tax. Earlier, this product was 5%, now to be taxed at 12. Now 12, it has to be reduced to 5. So rate related matters, increase the rate, decrease the rate of goods services, they will issue a rate notification. So when I say itself, I would say central tax, integrated tax, state tax notification. Central tax rate notification. I will use a word CTR, CT, central tax within bracket rate, close the bracket. So CTR notification means it is a rate related notification. Normal notification means section 66 of 2017 of central tax, which means normal notification, which amends the law, which gives the exemption or whatever be it. A rate notification will be always bothered about increase the rate, decrease the rate, rate related. So anywhere, any confusions if you have, whether a director is a employer employee or director is an independent person, a doubt comes generally, it will get clarified. Circulars will be there, instructions will be there, it will come and clarify, it will stop, it will straight away stop. Followed by a last discussion on this is case laws. Case laws are all again one set of precedents. If your facts and the respective assessee's facts, then you can apply the case law, quote it to the authority. Authority may accept, authority may reject. Next level, you can get a win over. If tomorrow we are going to read a case study question, your answer should come only through act, rules, notifications, circulars. As per the circular of board. See, everything has a number. Act has a number, rule has a number, notification has a number, circular has a number. We can't remember from an exam perspective. My discussion is now only from a core exam perspective. From an exam perspective, we cannot remember all numbers. Okay. Already we have to remember many things. With that, if we push ourselves for remembering numbers, then it will be a tough aspect. I do understand. Don't concentrate too much of numbers. Concentrate on the core content. Automatically, rest of the things will be part in place. Once, twice, thrice. By the fourth time you read, I think you will have a better understanding on this topic. Automatically it will come. Or maybe because of the frequent repetition of certain provisions in the session, you will have a grip on that section. Or because you like that section more, you will get a grip. We don't know. Many times, many ways it comes. There are still certain section numbers I'm not able to recollect it. Sometime when I would have uttered it with a little doubt and I'll park it at the back of my mind. And at a later time, when I verify, I made a mistake. So it comes over a period of time. And I made a principle that if a section number or a rule number or a notification number or a circular number, if it is important from an exam perspective only, I will say. The moment I personally felt the section and the subsection number is not important, I would not reveal it in the discussion itself. My whole discussion will go like this. If I somewhere say 17.5, then that becomes important. If I say 17.5C, then it becomes most important. You are forced to remember 17.5C. You are not freed. 17.5C, 17.5D relating to construction. If I say, then it becomes important. My section numbers, important section number will be part and parcel of the whole discussion. If I simply say as per exempted as per section 23 of CGST Act, I will stop there. I would not go whether it is exempted based on 23.1 or 23.2 or 23.3. As per 22.3, successor has to obtain registration. If I say, I mean it. That has to be remembered, 22.3. So that is how the whole discussion goes. Same in the case of rules also. Wherever I personally feel from an exam perspective, allow me with that little wisdom. I've been handling this paper for quite few years. And I believe that somehow that moment and that instant it will come. It is not pre-planned at all. In that instant, if I felt this it is possible and it has to be remembered. Either generally it has to be remembered also, I will share. For an exam perspective, it has to be remembered also. It will be shared. It would not be identifiable at your end whether it is for what purposes. That is on the general note. Quickly moving on towards the other aspects. Notification circulars, enjoy the same. Circulars are more binding on to the department than an assessee. An officer is bound by the circular. An officer is verbatim bound by the circular. He cannot override the circular. He has to go as per the instructions of the circular. So, given this background, this sums up the whole body of the law. Quickly moving forward, getting into the first section of CGST Act and IGST Act would be same. SGST Act, which will be little different, the applicability only to that state. Section 1 of CGST Act comes out and says the Act extends to whole of India. As of today, whole of India. But for the first 7 days, it was applicable only to the whole of India except Jammu and Kashmir. But nothing great here. Government has been given adequate power to notify any sections in part, bits and pieces. In fact, prior to implementation of GST, 1 week before itself, certain notifications were issued. So, given this backdrop, for us, the takeaway here is this law extends to whole of India. Beyond that one word, we don't have anything as a takeaway. Maybe if you want, you can remember that J&K, a levy on J&K is effective from 8th July 2017. Now, again, it is divided into two different, state and a union territory. Now the story is different again, but this is how the whole applicability is planned as far as your discussions are concerned. Coming back here, getting into some of the important definitions. Whatever definitions I have picked up here are general in nature, need to be known by all of us before stepping into any topic under GST. These discussions will not form part of any specific discussion. For example, a topic called as place of supply. That place of supply topic has 6 definitions. 6 definitions are there in IGST, some 4 definitions. 6 plus 4, 10 definitions are there for place of supply. I have parked it only in place of supply. I would not discuss generally here. Again, if it is a definition relating to time of supply, I parked it in time of supply, I will not discuss this here. So, this definition that we are going to discuss here all are general definition. Generally, India means it is all known to you. This is not the first time you are reading, but be aware, India is one of the very important definition. It includes the landmass, the airspace above the landmass and territorial waters. The territorial waters, continental shelf, exclusive economic zone, maritime zone, and other maritime zone, seabed, subsoil, all would be treated as India. So, a person does not only in land, not only in air, he does something on subsoil, he does an exploration activity, he does a testing of exploration activity, he does activity in the space, he connects 2 different countries through a telecom network. All are happening in India. If he uses his airspace above India, landmass above India, territorial water from the baseline 12 nautical mile. Continental shelf, continental shelf, I'll come later. From the baseline 24 nautical mile, contiguous zone. From the baseline 200 nautical mile, continental shelf for exclusive economic zone. So, our whole discussion would move like this. Sir, what do we mean by a baseline? If you're going to take me, then just be with me on this diagram. From this location where the land and water touch, in this location, this is called as your 12 nautical mile, Indian territorial water. From the baseline where the land and water touches, from that place up to 24 nautical mile, it is going to be your continental shelf. From the baseline, okay, where water and this touches, from the baseline up to 200 nautical mile is called as continental shelf or exclusive economic zone. So, as part of our whole discussion, the 12 nautical mile, the 24 nautical mile, and the 200 nautical mile. Sorry for that poor writing. That's all I could able to use my cursor and write. So takeaway for us is, in road we call it as kilometer. In water we will call it as nautical mile. 12 nautical mile, 24 nautical mile, and 200 nautical mile. Just a minute. Coming back here, moving from the term India, getting more specifically into a discussion called as goods. No, already morning we defined that. That is constitution definition. This is what is your important definition, which discuss about or which is discussed in GST law. As far as GST law is concerned, goods means every kind of movable property except money, except securities. Except money and securities, everything is treated as goods. Point to be further discussed. It also, goods also includes actionable claim, a lottery ticket where the prize money is won, an insurance policy where the person on whom the insurance policy is taken, that person is passed away, a debt which is guaranteed by a person, that is, he has to pay that money, a debt. All these are all called as actionable claim. Based on this document can be sold and money can be collected. Insurance company has to pay a person as a sum assured some 5 lakh rupees. I can buy that document and give money of 4.5 lakhs. Allowed. So that is treated as goods. Coming back here, all those growing crops that are grown on a land is treated as goods when they are attached as part of land, and there was an agreement that it would be served before supply, that would be served under a contract of supply. The moment it is removed from the land, it would be given back to those people. Then yes, it would be treated as a supply of food. So land, anything which is attached to the land, any interest on those land related items, they came, saw the rubber trees. They told, yes, good. From this rubber tree, the moment you extract rubber, you have to give us. The extraction is a process. It happens over a period of time. The moment all the mangoes were there, the fellow commission agent fellow or the respective person came, here, take 50,000 rupees. The day in which you pluck mango, you have to give us first 100 bags of mangoes for us. Then you give to whomever, because we have only good people. Then means at the time, don't say it is not movable, it is hanging in the tree. Once it is going to be served, then yes, it will be form part of your. Now, in any case, moving forward, in goods, only two things is excluded. It is going to be money and securities. Service is such a beautiful word. Anything other than goods, money, and securities. I'm sure a few of you have already listened to me, but in spite of that, I often repeat this only as my best example. I'm not good in Companies Act. I know myself. Preferably after Companies Act 2013, a lot of scope is there for learning, and I read very little portion. I would not say I would have a better understanding of that law. I know a very little. Let me repeat, a very little. Again, which where the model of 1956 is there, same will get continued. Wherever it is, same is getting continued. That alone I know. Honestly, I'm making a submission. Now, I like in Companies Act only one definition. Okay. A most important definition and best definition anybody in the earth can remember. Any rough guess? Which definition? Which is the most easiest definition in Companies Act? Gayatri, you're sure the definition that you have text me is the easiest definition? A lot of you are right. I think the most easiest definition is public company, not private company. Private company and all, you have to know, remember at least know more than two people, above share capital more than 1 lakh, all this and all. Public company, other than private company. Hence there. Okay. Now, any case, why I want to highlight is what is service other than goods. So, section 2102 comes out and defines service means other than goods. So then, what is goods? I have to know now. Now it gives me for because I want to know service. First, I need to know what is goods. Goods, every kind of movable property except money and securities. So then, money and securities is neither a goods nor a service. That is the first taken. Now, a doubt might come for some of us. Money means what, sir? Legal tender. Whatever is a legal tender, it is called as money. I would ask a few questions. I want some of you to answer this. One of my friend has the habit of preserving all those old banking notes. He has a old 10 rupee note, 5 rupee note, 2 rupee note, 1 rupee note. Plus, he also had this demonetized note of Indian demonetized note of 500 rupees, 1000 rupees, which is demonetized now. And prior to that, there were 4 demonetizations in India that has happened. This is the 4th demonetization. Prior to that, India had 3 demonetization. All those notes also he has procured from his some of his subsequent friends and certain from the museum. India had a 10,000 rupee note and all, it seems that all got demonetized in 50s, and then we had. Now, any case, crux of our discussion is he preserves all these notes. He has an old 1940s 1 rupee note, 1940s 10 rupee note, which will be not in this size. It will be a little larger in size. Question for us. Those notes which are held for us numismatic value, goods, services, money, none of the above. All those notes which are held for us numismatic value, a heritage value, a value which has been derived over a period of time. Is it goods or services or money or none of the above? Yes. Yes, I want an answer. I want an answer. A lot of you to answer. Good. Quick. When somebody preserves some currencies and then subsequently sell it in the market for its numismatic value, heritage value, it would be treated as goods. The current legal tender alone would be treated as money. So I have a 500 rupee note with me. I give it to you. It's money. Again, you in turn might give me 100 rupee notes, fine. At no stretch of imagination, this can be calculated. I think it is only money. Coming back here, after the discussion relating to goods, services, anything done will be treated as service other than goods, money, and securities. It also includes activities relating to use of money. What do we mean by activities relating to use of money? Financing related transaction, exchange related transaction, use of money. Let me repeat it. Today, this model is not very relevant. This model is not very largely used, but these are the days, at least a lot of you and me have paid our exam fees. We went to a bank, procured a DD or purchased a DD after giving the adequate money, 1,700 rupees per group, 2,500 rupees per group, plus one commission we will pay, 30 rupees. So 2,530 we will write as 2,500 DD, 30 rupees charges, 2,530. The 2,500 rupees we paid, no, that is an activity relating to use of money. You gave rupees and received a bank draft or a demand draft, as the case may be, for which you paid one money, for which a separate consideration is charged would be treated as a service. Similarly, conversion of cash from one form of currency or denomination to another form of currency or denomination for which a separate consideration is charged. Use of money for which separate consideration charged, or one form of currency or denomination to another form of currency or denomination for which it is charged, it has to be treated as a service. So here take $100, give me 7,500 rupees. No doubt is a supply of service. It's a service as per the definition. So this is about your goods and service definition. Quickly getting into a definition called as person, in my view, not much important. We all know, even otherwise, if you feel it is important, come and read this word called as includes. Person broadly can be categorized into two ways: a legal person and a natural person. You and me are natural person. Company, trust, society, partnership firm, LLP, government, central government, deemed university, temples, trust, cooperative society, LIC of India, RBI of India, which are all constituted by the government for a designated purposes, all are treated as person. So person is so wide, including local authority. Person is such a wide definition. I'm not spending much time. We are all aware of it. Okay, for years together we are reading it. Be aware your person can be anybody, as it is an inclusive definition. As long as it is a legal or a natural person, it covered here. Supplier. Supplier word is defined where in relation to any supply of goods or services, person who is supplying the goods will be treated as supplier. And the act does not stop there. It shall also include an agent who is acting as such on behalf of such supplier. So supplier means a person who is supplying goods or services. Any agent acting on behalf of supplier are also treated as supplier as per the definition. So A Limited appointed B Limited as their agent, sole selling agent. No doubt. B Limited, for the purpose of accounting purposes, taxation purposes, B Limited is enjoyed. B Limited is eligible only for a commission. However, for the purpose of GST, B Limited is a supplier because they act on behalf of us. So that is our takeaway associated with it. And recipient can be broadly two types. One, a recipient who is going to pay consideration, where consideration is payable, where a recipient who is not going to pay consideration. Sir, he will not pay consideration. I'm sure you are aware of it. Recollect your Schedule 1 transaction, recollect a transaction between related person, recollect a transaction between employer-employee. All these transactions are transactions that happens without consideration. There are transactions that will happen with consideration. In case transaction that happens with consideration, any person who is liable to pay the consideration, who has been received the goods or services, then yes, that person would be treated as a recipient. Followed by, in case of goods where consideration is not payable, to whom it is delivered, that person would be treated as recipient, or on whose possession the goods are given or made available, that person would be treated as recipient. In case of services whose person name is mentioned in the service invoice, that would be treated as recipient. So as far as recipient is concerned, it is based on whether the recipient is going to pay money or not going to pay money. I would not use the word pay money. A person going to pay consideration or not going to pay consideration, that decides. Also understand there can be a possibility of agent for a recipient, a rare area. Sir, supplier will have agent. How recipient will have agent? Recipient also will have agent. ITC is the recipient of agricultural produce. From Punjab, they want about 15,000 metric ton of paddy. They cannot go to every district and collect it. What they will do is, Mr. R, I appoint you as ITC's agent. Go throughout in the market. procure on behalf of ITC, ITC will pay. Very interesting. Everyone knows if I go and deliver to Mr. R, ITC will pay. Everyone will go deliver to R, ITC will pay them. R will acknowledge, I have received 100 metric ton, I have received 500 metric ton. He will give it to the farmer will go and collect money from ITC. Now, here, who's the recipient? ITC is the recipient because he pays the consideration, or the individual, Mr. R, is the recipient. It is the individual is also treated as recipient as per the law. Taxable person, any person who is registered or who is liable to get himself registered will be treated as taxable person. So someone who is liable to get himself registered would be treated as a taxable person. I cross the threshold, I am liable for registration. Taxable person. I am already registered with GST, taxable person. Hope this gives you a better understanding. Two words, taxable person, registered person. Law in different places uses different words. Many places it will use the word taxable person. Taxable person includes registered person. Registered person does not include a person who is liable to get himself registered. So, in other words, taxable person is a wider word. Registered person is a small word. Registered person means a person who is registered under GST. Any person who is registered under GST would be treated as your registered person. Any person liable to be registered would be treated as a taxable person. Moving forward. Two more definitions we will learn from the person's perspective. Casual taxable person and non-resident taxable person. What is the difference? Nothing. A person occasionally undertake transaction, of course in business nature, in a state or union territory where he has no fixed place of business. How interesting, look. You will not have place of business there, but you will do business. How it is possible? That too not regularly. Daily he'll come open the shop and do business. No, occasionally he will do. 5 days, 10 days, 10 days, 20 days, 50 days. That's all he will do. Occasionally he will do business. 2, in a state or union territory. 3, where he has no place of business. He is located in Andhra Pradesh, but he comes to Tamil Nadu, supply goods only for 3 days. Is it possible? Yes, somebody who is participating in an exhibition. Somebody who is participating in a trade fair. There are two kinds of people who will participate in trade fair. People from that state also will come. People from other state also will come. In fact, exhibitions and trade fairs are more important or more liked by many people because they bring in 2 or 3 types of people. Not only I'll get my area's stalls, everything. I would also get the other states area. Whatever be it, understand in a simple term. Leave the rest to whole part. He has to be in business. It will include principal and agent, goods and services to be supplied. All are irrelevant. 3 careful points. Occasionally undertake transactions. 2, in a state or union territory. 3, in a place where he has no business. Actually, I'm a registered person in Andhra Pradesh. But my friend says, Ganesh, there's a good opportunity. You can go put a stall in Tamil Nadu and supply goods. Your goods, I know it's best part. If you go and put a stall, you may know whether Tamil Nadu people like this goods or not. If Tamil Nadu people like that goods, then you can convert that stall or you can have a plan of opening a branch in Tamil Nadu. In fact, for tests only people, new product launches, new products used to come in the markets. So come back here. Intentions of our discussion is this, that's all. where it is going to be. In cases like this, we would be able to arrive. These are all called as casual taxable person. Moving forward from casual taxable person, getting into non-resident taxable person. Don't change anything. Verbatim maintain your status quo. Again, occasionally undertake transaction in a state or union territory. That will also be there. Who has no fixed place of business or residence in India. If a person does not have a place of business or residence in India, but he comes down to India, does a transaction of supply. Hey, I forgot this fellow name. Yeah. He came all the way from foreign country, had a music show in Bombay last year, beginning, I believe, where his tickets were sold for 15,000 rupees, 20,000 rupees. Justin Bieber, if I'm right, Justin Bieber. Okay, thank you, Ramya Gayatri. By the way, section service subsection enna? I'm not finding fault. Good. See, இங்க இருக்கிற இன்ட்ரெஸ்ட் ஒன்னு இருக்கு பாத்தீங்களா, ஜஸ்டின் பீபர் மேல அதே இன்ட்ரெஸ்ட் தூக்கிங்க வைங்க. இன்ட்ரெஸ்ட் நமக்கு இருக்குன்றதை நீங்க உணர்ந்தா மட்டும் போதும். ஓகே, குட். ஐ எம் a person, I'm very clear. You should enjoy Justin Bieber. You should also enjoy strategic financial management, financial reporting, goods and service tax, taxation. Until day of clearing exam, all 8 are 8 darlings. Okay, all papers are our darling. So I'm sorry. All you have a liking. You have a liking for your music, you have a liking for your passion, you have a liking for your paper, all are same. Now anyway, coming back to core. Justin Bieber, when he comes down, he occasionally undertakes transaction. He is not a person residing in India. He just came and he is engaged in a service activity, has to get himself registered as a non-resident taxable person and pay taxes on this. Who's occasionally undertake in transaction involving supply of goods or services. So that is how it has to be decided. Moving forward, the word principal and agent is defined. Straight borrowal from the Indian Contract Act. No great change that they have made associated with it. Any person on whose behalf an agent carries out the supply of goods or receipt of goods called as principal. Any person, including a factor, broker, or hatri, or by whatever name called, who carries on the activity of receipt of goods or services on behalf of another person, or supply of goods or services on behalf of another person, then yes, that person would be called as agent. Any person who does for a consideration, for a supply or receipt of goods, he is called as agent. On whose behalf it is done, that person would be treated as principal. And when we go back to certain transactions of activities carried out even without consideration, at that time you will come to know that any transaction between principal to agent is treated as a deemed supply. Any process carried out on another person's raw material, any treatment carried out or any process carried out by a person on another person's raw material, it is called as job work. Job work is defined. Job worker is defined. Anybody who does this process is called as job worker. So I am going to, my material is not mine. I'm going to process that material on behalf of another person. Then yes, it would be treated as job work. So that is how the term job work is defined. So you have a garment, you have a fabric in your hand, you go to a tailoring shop, give that to the tailor, then no doubt the tailor stitches for you. He is engaged in a service. Now only difference is sometimes I have a manufacturing facility, manufacturing plant. Other person also has a manufacturing plant, but he is excess loaded with work. He has 10,000 units to make. He thinks he can make only 8,000 units, 2,000 units he cannot make, so he is not interested to leave the order, calls me. Ganesh, do you have spare capacity in your manufacturing plant? I say, yes, I have spare capacity. He says, I would send all the materials. Will you process and give me goods alone? Now a genuine doubt came. I receive goods, process the goods, convert into a finished goods. Am I selling finished goods or am I supplying services? A doubt came. To avoid all those confusions, the activity done by me is job work. Later, when we read this along with schedule 2, we will confirm this activity is a supply of service. Anybody on his own land do an agricultural activity using his own labor or the labor of the family or wage or salary payable to its servants based on consideration, based on product or money or kind, under the personal supervision of the members of the family or the person, then those people are called as agriculturists. In my view, there are only 2-3 important points here. Always agriculturist can be either an individual or a HUF. A company cannot be an agriculturist. Why? Because an agriculturist is not required to get himself registered under GST law. Section 23 comes out and says, if you are agriculturist, you are not required. And again, to stop the doubt relating to family, whether it includes your family means what and all is covered here, spouse, their children of an individual, parent, grandparent, brother and sister who are wholly or mainly dependent is called as family. 3 definitions I am parking for tomorrow's discussion or for the next class discussion. 1, a definition by name called as business, such an important definition. 2, a definition by name called as consideration. 3, another definition by name called as aggregate turnover. All 3 definitions, let me repeat, all 3 definitions I am parking consciously because all 3 definitions require me, each definition requires me a 15 minutes of solid discussion. At least another 40 minutes of discussion we still have, which can be coupled as part of your supply definition. Of course, even but for aggregate turnover, rest 2 definitions can form part of supply definitions or supply discussions. Maybe we can take up aggregate turnover alone. We'll quickly close. Aggregate turnover, a definition we will refer about more than 8 times in our law. 8 times. When in our discussion itself, we will refer. Aggregate turnover will include, aggregate turnover means the aggregate value of taxable supply, exempt supply, zero rated supply of all those supply to foreign country, that is export of goods or services, zero rated supply. Having a same PAN number computed on all India basis. It excludes 2 broader propositions. When you pay tax under reverse charge, then it is not included in aggregate turnover. When you pay any tax, central tax, state tax, union tax, or integrated tax, central tax means CGST, state tax means SGST, union tax means, union territory tax means UTGST, integrated tax means IGST. Law refers integrated tax, IT, CT, ST, UTT. Law refers like that only. Law does not refers it as UGST. No, law refers it as Union Territory Tax. So, a person's taxable supply, exempt supplies. Again, exempt supply requires a further discussion, further detailed discussion. Okay, what is exempt supply? It includes it includes your non-taxable supply also. What I've shared to you is a very broad spec. And this definition, no doubt, we will, as part of our supply discussion, kinds of supply and types of supply, those discussion, at that time also we will step in and do a detailed analysis. Now for the definition per se, read through it. Moving forward, a definition by name called as reverse charge. You all know, I no need to discuss about it, where you ask the recipient to pay tax, then it is called as reverse charge levy. A levy is on reverse charge. Sometime we will say advocate services, GTA, sponsorship, whatnot. We will instantly say all these are all reverse charge. The recipient has to pay tax. Correct. I agree to you. Recipient only has to pay tax. Supplier will not pay tax. Then it is called as reverse charge. Tax period. The period for which return is required to be filed is called as tax period, generally a month. Many places they will say the return to be filed for the tax period, tax period, tax period. Generally a month, they will not refer it as a month. For the period for which return is going to be filed. You are going to file the return for a particular period, then it will be called as a tax period. Consciously, I have parked two definitions without touching, and a small reference I have made for one definition, aggregate turnover. These are all further discussions that we will make when we move forward. We have a small topic called as administrative setup. Again, I'm not inclined to take as part of today's discussion. It will be a little tough. We will take it up. We'll start with administrative setup on our next class. Understand who are all form part of it. Looks like a nice table. These are all Google images which we put. Okay. The Indian table will be in different color, different tone, different structure, different setup, everything associated with it. So admin setup table, who are all there, why we call somebody as commissioner, why we call somebody as chief commissioner, why we call somebody as assistant commissioner, what is their differences, what are their power differences, how are we going to make those differences. Those are all will be discussed, and we'll make then a formal beginning towards section 7, scope of supply. Our whole discussion of tomorrow, our whole discussion of next class would be largely on basic discussion on administrative setup and administrative power. Who have what power? When CGST officer went for an assessment, SGST officer can do, or CGST officer alone has to do that. So how it is going to be splitted, those aspects, plus a clean discussion on scope of supply generally, coupled with a discussion on kinds of supply. Further, hitherto that class, after that, we will take it up, a clear discussion on Schedule 1, Schedule 2, Schedule 3 transactions. So the supply, scope of supply will be bifurcated into 2 sessions. A very important topic. At no cost, fail to attend it. At no cost. Let me repeat it. Some of you are busy with something also, put your headset, put it on a video off mode and start listening to it. Irrespective of whatever. No, I have a heavy work at my office because I do understand it also happens. Work from home is killing. Because work at office usually, which used to be at a regular periodic time, where we are out of that 6 hours, 7 hours of work, we are little free, be it an article internship that we are pursuing, be it a small time employment that we have taken. But today it's eating extra 2 hours for everyone. Everyone is eating. Earlier, if you used to work for 10 hours, you are now working for 12 hours. Earlier, if you used to work for 8 hours, now you are working for 10 hours, whatever be it. So somehow these 2 sessions will be of greater importance. I'll ensure the material is shared to you at the earliest. Thank you all for effective and patient listening. Thank you. Hello. ஆமாங்க. ம். சொல்லுங்க, டக்குன்னு சொல்லுங்க என்ன வேணும். பே பண்ணியாச்சுங்க. ஏற்கனவே சந்தோஷ்னு ஒருத்தர் இன்டராக்ட் பண்ணாரு, அவருக்கு நான் அனுப்பிச்சிட்டேன். 13,000 ரூபாய் மாசம் கட்டின்னு இருக்கோங்க. இஎம்ஐ எனக்கு ஆக்டிவேட் ஆகல. ஓகேவா? சேம் டேட்ல ஆட்டோமேட்டிக் என்இஎஃப்டி கொடுத்தாச்சு. ஸோ கொஞ்சம் போய் உங்களுடைய டேட்டா பேஸ்ல இருந்துன்னு பார்த்தீங்கன்னா நான் சொல்றேன். இல்லைன்னா எனக்கு வாட்ஸ்அப் நம்பர் இருந்ததுன்னா ஒரு மெசேஜ் அனுப்பிச்சு விடுங்க, நான் உங்களுக்கு பேமெண்ட் டீடைல்ஸ் தரேன். ஓகே. ஒரே ஒரு நிமிஷம். நான் இது சம்பந்தமா ஏற்கனவே என்கிட்ட ஒருத்தர் பேசினாருங்க, அவருக்கு நான் கொடுத்துருக்கேன். ஒரு நிமிஷம். சந்தோஷ்னு கோட்டாக்லேருந்து பேசியிருக்காரு. நான் அனுப்பிச்சிருக்கேன். AXMB 202 1803 41650. டேட் சேம் டேட்டுங்க 5th. ஆட்டோமேட்டிக்